Hi everybody, thank you again for coming back to the kitchen table. I've saved you a chair here. Grab your coffee, your tea, whatever it is that you prefer to drink. And today we're going to be talking about um, the when you have to put somebody into a home, a I forgot what they're called now. I'm so sorry. When you have to put somebody into a facility, um, I'm going to give you a couple of tips because I've worked at them and I've seen when new people come in touring a facility. The facility is always going to be putting their best foot forward when they have somebody coming in to look to see whether or not that's where they want to put their parent. So that's not what you want to go by. Again, they're putting their best foot forward. Now, I'm not saying every facility is bad. There are bad ones, there are good ones, there are in between ones, but there are things that you need to do to see how things really are in a facility. Um, like, for example, this last facility that I worked at before I started back at Walmart was not a good facility. The people there, now you do have like your state that they come in and they inspect the facilities. You know, they talk to the patients there, and or the people living there, and to get their input. And you have your ombudsman. Um, the thing of it is that when you have to put somebody into a home, um, they, the ones that are coherent, they always will tell the person who does the state inspection of the homes when they come in and do their uh, chat with the people who live there. They will never, or I shouldn't say never, hardly ever will they say anything bad about the facility, because even though it's supposed to be private, that it will be confidential, they are terrified that the information will not be kept that way and that they will face retaliation from the people who work there, from the owners of the facility, and from just from everybody. And they know that they can be evicted. Yes, they can be evicted from a facility. So they don't tell the truth. We have, so many times have I told them, you need to call somebody, to call the state, for the coherent ones, not the people who are living in the facilities there are facilities that are designated just for people with the memory problems, like with um, Alzheimer's and dementia, those type of problems, because those people, they're they're not coherent, so they don't have to worry about this type of thing. But there's been so many times when I've told them, call your ombudsman, and call the state, call somebody. You need to file a complaint, and they are terrified, and they've told me themselves, if I do that and they find out it's me and I do that, they're going to kick me out, and then where am I going to go? So you have to do your due diligence. Show up unannounced, and just say that you want to, that you're there and you just want to have another walkthrough, because you want to just get a feel of how things are when they're not expecting you. And this is the same thing with the state. The state always lets them know when they're coming. So of course they clean up everything. They make sure everything is like shiny and new and all this other stuff, because the state informs them when they're coming. Which isn't, I don't know why the state does that. The state should always just do surprise inspections, because then they can see and catch them when rooms aren't being cleaned, patients aren't being cared for properly. Um, it- Also, at the facility that I worked at, there were so many times where yes, the patient would have the buzzer, where they could just hit the buzzer, and a light would go off, and then at the nurse's station, it would the panel with the room number, that light would go off, the light outside the door would go off, and they just wouldn't care. They would just let it be going off for half an hour, 45 minutes, an hour. The person could have fallen out of bed and they wouldn't know because they just don't care. Um, then you have the other ones where the patient's yelling. I have worked in there where the patient's been yelling for 30, 40 minutes for help, and they ignore them. Or they say, that's not my patient. You work here. You hear somebody yelling for help that cannot either move themselves, lift themselves up, and you're ignoring them. So this is the kind of stuff that you need to be seen. There's also another problem with food. Not saying that they don't serve them food, and not saying that they, they don't get, their diet. But I've had so many times when people be like, I'm on a low sodium diet. This stuff is from my doctor, and this stuff is loaded with sodium. And it's like they're not paying attention to their dietary restrictions. For not every facility. I'm just talking about the one that I worked at. I should say several that I worked at. They just ignored what their dietary stuff is supposed to be. And then the other problem is the food not being hot. So many times, how would you like it if every single morning your breakfast was, if it was like oatmeal or eggs or whatever, waffles, pancakes, whatever it was, that it was constantly cold when you got it. And it is so, I just don't understand how they can do that. Now I've been in a facility that didn't really have that many people. How could that food be kept being served cold? How could their dinner, whenever it was anything that's supposed to be hot, was cold or lukewarm? So if you have somebody who is already in a facility, in a nursing home, a facility, whatever you want to call it, I would just, they don't know when you're coming. You don't have to tell them when you're coming. But then just, taste their food. See, especially if you're there in the morning time when they're getting their breakfast. And just see, how are their eggs? How is their oatmeal? How's their pancakes? Is it warm? Is it cold? Is it hot? That will give you a good idea. And I would also pick out several facilities, not just one. Pick out several, because of the fact that, let's say you have your the person at one facility, and you do this. You decide, I'm showing up for breakfast this morning, and you go there, and their breakfast is right in the middle of being served, because then you can tell. If you go right when it's being served, they're not going to try to do anything special to make sure the food's hot, and then you can get a good idea, and then you can just try their food. And if it's cold, just say, hey, why is her breakfast cold? Why are these pancakes cold? Why are these scrambled eggs cold? Put them. You may not like to do this, but we're talking about someone you love and care for. So, would you eat cold eggs all the time? Would you eat cold pancakes all the time? No, you wouldn't eat cold eggs at any time. So this is how you find out. This is why you want to make sure that you have more than one facility that you would like them to be at. Because then if that facility is doing that one time, they're doing it all the time. Talk to other people that live there, and you will find out that it's not just your person. That's how it always comes. And this is, where I worked, that was the case. So there's no excuse for their food to be cold. There's just no excuse for it. And that's why there's so many people who lose a lot of weight, because they don't want to eat cold stuff. I don't blame them. I wouldn't want to eat cold eggs either, or a cold pancake, or a cold waffle. I wouldn't want to eat that cold food. Cold, that kind of, does not get me started, okay? But they lose weight simply for the fact that they're not eating it because it's cold. It's nasty. So what I would do is have more than one facility, more than one, 2, 3. Three would be ideal, so you can go to that facility and see when you do the walkthrough. Say, hey, do you mind? I would like to maybe talk to a couple of people on my own and get their view on the place without you being standing right there. So I want to hear truth. Don't say truthfully, but you say, I want to hear what the other people who live here, what their take is. If they have nothing to hide, they'd be like, yeah, great, go ahead, and then they'll try to find somebody who can talk and will be able to help you figure that out. So that's just some good advice that I can give you from my own experience of how to help and how to pick out some homes when you have to put somebody in a home, because you're already under that stress already, but you want them to be in a good place, right? You want to know that they are going to be taken care of, that people aren't going to be sitting there screaming for help for 30 minutes, 40 minutes, and nobody's responded to them, or their lights been flashing for 30, 40 minutes, and nobody's responding. So just do your due diligence on it, and as much as you can. That is my best advice to you. That was one of the another reason why I couldn't work there no more, and why I stopped being a care assistant, was because it wasn't just one facility. So you do need to do this. And then if, like, say you have somebody in a facility and they're already there, and then you do the surprise visit and find out that their food is cold, and then you already know there's another facility that you can put them in, and you can let them know, that you're thinking about moving your person to another facility because this food is not acceptable being served to them cold. That may make them make sure that your loved one is going to get at least warm food. So that's the best thing that I can help you guys with when it comes to having to look for a facility to move somebody into. So I hope this does help some people, and to understand, some things that go on in some facilities. Again, I'm not saying every facility is like this. I'm just going off of my experience and my knowledge of where I have worked. So, again, I don't want to be what do they call it? A down Betty? I don't know. But I hope that's helped somebody, and that can maybe open your eyes a little bit, and maybe write this down about this is the main thing that you want to, because they have to keep their nutrition up. They have to keep their health up, and food helps that. Being happy helps that. You're miserable when your food is being served cold to you all the time. It does not help the mental health. It does not help the happiness, their mental health. It doesn't help anything or anybody when they're having to deal with that too, and then now they're losing weight because they can't eat that stuff. So it's something to really think about and to pursue and make sure when you're when you're looking for a facility, or like I said, if they're already in one, look for another one, and then bring it up to them that, you know, when you go in after breakfast and they're having scrambled eggs and their eggs are cold, do something about it. Don't let it slide, because that's not a one-off. Most of the time, that's not a one-off situation. That's how it is every day. So I hope that I've opened some eyes, and just write this down when that time does come. Watch my video again, and I do appreciate everybody who is viewing me and likes me, and I hope that everybody has a great day. Please hit the like, subscribe, and share to help me get monetized so I can stop working. That's my goal, to stop working and to help people. So thank you guys very much for being at the kitchen table today. Until next time, everybody have a good evening. Bye-bye.